Parker stream every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. right here on RadioMisfits.com. This is the second of two streams that I do each and every night. First one, well, not each and every night, each and every day. First one comes on at noon. High noon, join me. It's a rundown of all the hot topics of the day, current events, headlines, trends, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. We try to get it to you in a nice little neat to eat treat. 2 hours, sometimes more. Sometimes less, but 2 hours, we run it down. It's just sort of a rip and read style hot take of all the stuff that's going on. We don't spend too much time on any one subject. We don't dally in the world of politics. Don't like talking divisive politics, so you ain't going to find that there. Look, you want that stuff, there's plenty of radio stations on AM radio that you can listen to. I'm trying to do a different kind of talk radio. We don't do much by way of culture wars, although, as I like to say, very hard to avoid that. And if I'm being honest, kind of like that stuff. If we could all just be fun about it, right? Instead of taking it all serious and getting butthurt. This one, the 9 o'clock stream, Pugs and Parker. Boy, this is what we all look forward to. This is just conversational chemistry at its height. Here's James Parker. Hi, James.
Hey there. Good to see everybody. Happy Monday, I suppose.
Say hi to everybody. I got to go get my drink. I forgot my drink. You, sir, interrupted my little ritual that I usually do before the show with a last minute phone call, and now I forgot my drink over on the table, so I gotta go get it. Tell everybody about Florida stories.
Oh man, actually on Florida Stories, I'm kind of developing a video version of it. The podcast does okay, but I keep reading, like I just read another rundown last week about how podcasts that have a video version have a tendency to do better. And so, and the biggest podcasts do, like Joe Rogan has a video version, and some of the other ones that I keep up with have video. So I was kind of working on that, and I just uploaded that today, and maybe I'll send the link to Pugs or something so I can show y'all. But I don't know. It's developing, and this is episode 158, and I'm still trying new stuff. And so it's Florida Stories. It's funny. So go check it out, Florida Stories. But wait for him to. So is his earphones in? Can you hear me? No, they're not. Hang on. I did. So why are you wearing that indoors? Is it that cold in the mother-in-law suite?
You're going to have to start again. What'd you say? Say it again.
Your hat. Is it really that cold in the mother-in-law suite that you need to wear that indoors? Or is this like
freezing? Yeah. It's like I didn't turn the heat on until like an hour ago. Yeah. So no, I might have to take it off here because I got the heat cranking here. But I like it very cold when I sleep. So I'm in the habit of turning off all the heat and all that stuff. Last night, at some point, I got really cold, and instead of turning on the heat, I just put on sweatpants and a sweatshirt that were laying right there by the side of the bed. So when I woke up this morning with no heat on, I was wearing a sweatshirt and sweatpants. And so I've been wearing that all day. Basically I've been wearing this all day, and I didn't realize that it was cold until this evening when it went down. And I was like, damn, I should probably put the... So yeah, I'm a little cold. But also, this is the greatest Christmas present my kid ever got me. So I'm happy to wear it whenever I can. And by the way, don't hair shame me. I'm bald. Don't hair shame me. It gets very cold. You have no idea, you hairist.
Oh, you're playing the bald card again.
I don't know if that's the card in your hand, you play it, man. I don't know what you mean playing the bald card. I am very much bald.
And you tilt your camera up because it bothers me that the logo's on your forehead.
I know. I'm seeing that too.
Squat down.
I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe this is how I like it. Maybe I like to hide myself.
Well, you're usually more zoomed out too. It's closer today, or there's a different camera. What'd you do?
No, I moved the camera. I unplugged. I vacuumed. I did some vacuuming. So I wanted to. I probably didn't put it right back. I'm not one of those nerds that has little pieces of tape on the cart. You seen that studio when they break down little pieces of tape? This is where the light rig goes, and you put it on the... I don't do that. And now you're irritated by it. All right, there you are. Hi, James. How are you? Welcome to the show. Your show.
How obligated are we to talk about the Cowboys?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Cowboys. I wanted to get your take on it. Look, here's the beautiful thing about me. I am a football meathead, and I love watching football. but my heart doesn't belong to the Dallas Cowboys. So these like really sad year in and year out ends to the season, they don't affect me in the way that others. But I am a bit of a DFW sports anthropologist. I do like to watch the way the natives behave. It's
That documented. So I have a feeling that if you pull anyone aside, like the day before kickoff, opening kickoff at the beginning of the season, and they say your team's going to end up losing out in the second round, you'd probably be pretty happy about that. You'd be like, oh well, that's a good season. We're in the last 8 teams still playing, or last 8 teams still playing. So I feel like it's not really fair to go to the second round of the playoffs and lose out and be like, that sucks. We can fire everybody. Oh, Dak Prescott sucks. We need to get rid of him. We could bring in Sean Payton or whatever. But I do it. I am guilty as hell of that, right? We just got to the second round of the playoffs. I'm like, this whole team sucks. I don't even think Dak's the guy. Ezekiel Elliott's just an albatross around our neck. We need to shed him and his big, dumb contract. We need to get rid of Mike McCarthy. We need to bring in Sean Payton. Tom Brady's going to come back for year 46, and we're going to make a run at it next year. I go nuts. Why am I nuts?
You're too close to it. You're too close to it. You're into it. You've been a fan your whole life. They're your team. So you don't really have the outsider perspective that I do, which is why, as I said earlier today, I hate the Dallas Cowboy fan, even though all of my closest friends and my son, who I love more than anything on this planet, is a meatball Dallas Cowboy fan. You are the worst. You Dallas Cowboy fans are the absolute worst. You start out every year so arrogant, so we're the Super Bowl. Like you think that the 27 years in a row
We've been robbed. Yeah.
Not even wrong. I mean, some of those years.
We've been robbed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But even some of those years, let's not forget the Quincy Carter years. And, there were some years where you weren't making the playoffs and it was really bad. And you got a taste of, maybe what it's like to be, I don't know, the Detroit Lion fan, or something like that. But you really are an interesting creature, the Dallas Cowboy fan, because you turn on a dime. You go from them being every member of the damn team, a first ballot Hall of Famer, to get rid of all of them. They suck. And then, by the time training camp rolls around, you're all back to, this is our year. This is how y'all hate Dak today. And then by August, the first week of August, you'll be arguing with Kansas City Chief fans about how Dak is every bit as good as Mahomes. You know what I mean? I mean, it's unbelievably silly how Dallas Cowboy fans behave.
In the more sober moments, though, it's tough to admit. I mean, this is really bad that I don't see anyone ever hating Dak, but he's just going to be another Tony Romo. Hey, he's a good guy. He was a good quarterback, but never won anything. Had a pretty futile run in the playoffs, and aside from a couple of wild card round wins, didn't do jack diddly squat. And but what do you do about it? Do you shed him? Do you go for the next quarterback?
This is sports radio conversation. What do we know? Who was out there? Can I play something for you? I want to play a national perspective on the Dallas Cowboy fan that I saw today that I thought was pretty damn good. I thought this pretty much summed it up. This is NFL Network's Kyle Brandt, who I find to be wildly entertaining, a bit smug, but he's a Bear fan, so I like him. This is Kyle Brandt this morning on Good Morning Football. Tell me if you agree with this.
There's so much doom and gloom. I go the complete opposite way. This was an incredible, wonderful season for the Cowboys, and I mean that. They won a playoff game this year, guys. That's the 5th time in the last 27 years they've won a playoff game. That's huge. They should have a parade today in Dallas. This organization is not about title games and championships and Super Bowls. It hasn't been since I got my driver's license. This was massive. A win in the divisional round would just be gravy. Wild card round, massive. That's huge. It's a great season for them. And Dak's sitting there saying, well, this is unacceptable. No, it's not. It's completely acceptable. You do it every year and you just get paid, and that's the way the business works. You're one of the highest paid guys in the league. You guys never do anything of consequence. It's the very definition of acceptable. I look at Ezekiel Elliott, one of the highest paid running backs in the league. and he's, I guess, found his niche as a short yardage running back. What? Like he's Mike Tolbert or something? It is very strange. And as far as Jerry, well, you know, we want to put on a show. We're the ultimate showman on P.T. Barnum, and it's the Dallas Cowboys. The best show you guys put on was tuning in to see how many kicks your kicker would miss. That was the most intriguing thing. They showed up, they got thumped. Dak Prescott, your hero, your prince, the face of the organization, was outplayed by a rookie, a neophyte who's never been there before by far. And the worst part is no one is surprised. And when you have a chance to throw it to Kevontae Turpin at the end of the game with their season on the line, you have to do it, guys. I don't know why everyone's criticizing that play. It's not just that they lose every year in the playoffs. It's that there's always this massive joke at the end of the season, like a walk-off, like on the SNL when they say goodnight on the stairs to sign off from the episode. And you might be sitting here, oh, the Bills aren't about championships. You're right. I was asked about the Cowboys, but you're definitely right. The Cowboys, since I was in high school, keep asking us, why is this Cowboys team special? This team's special. This team's special. They're never special. I don't know if they're ever going to be special because Dak Prescott was wrong. It's not unacceptable. Not only is it completely acceptable, it's the Cowboy way, and this was just the latest chapter.
All right, so that was Kyle Brandt, Good Morning Football. I have to tell you, man, as an outsider who has lived inside this Dallas Cowboy bubble, that's how I see it. This idea, this national brand of America's team that the Cowboys are special, they're so exciting. Anybody who's a fan of another team, nobody fears the Cowboys, okay? People fear the Kansas City Chiefs. People fear the Buffalo Bills, the 49ers. Even the Eagles this year look really scary. But aside from the internal hype that is generated by the Cowboy fan base, I don't know anybody who worries about the Cowboys year in and year out. And look, I am a Bear fan. We suck. We got the number one pick in the draft. We have been garbage for years, and we are really angry at our team, although optimistic right now, but really angry at our team. James, we've been in 3 championship games and a Super Bowl in the last 15 years. The Cowboys haven't made it to a championship round in 27 years, and yet, you know, if all the football teams came to a party, right? And you had like the Jets guys show up and, you know, the 49er guys show up. The Dallas Cowboy guy would show up thinking he's in the VIP room. And he ain't getting in the VIP room. He ain't in there with Buffalo Bill and Kansas City Chief. And I mean, you know, San Francisco 49er, who has been a dominant team throughout the years. It's a delusion.
Well, no, it's not a delusion.
Suffer from.
The reason why we all feel like we deserve it is because we do. We're the Dallas Cowboys. First off, we're the marquee team from Texas, which means we should be able to just buy a championship at some point, like the Yankees do. Like the Yankees just buy a championship. Shouldn't we be able to buy one by now? We can't really, Jerry Jones. You can't.
Hold on. By that token, shouldn't the Giants be able to buy the championship? I mean,
they got a couple. They got a couple in the last.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, Giants are a great franchise.
They got the 2 Eli ones. They got the Phil Simms one. Hell, they got a Jeff Hofstetler one. But yeah, so. We deserve it just because of who we are and where we stand in the pantheon of football. And it really, all of football would benefit if we would get another Super Bowl here and there.
Historic team. Nobody can take that away from the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are a historic, those teams in the 70s and those teams in the 90s. But it's 2023. And, you know, and again, who am I to say we walk around talking about the 85 Bears, right? That's the 85 Bears. No team better. Best single season team ever. We're delusional when it comes to that, but not to the extent that the Cowboy fan gets hyped up. And honestly, James, I think it has a lot to do with local media. The local media in this city sucks the sack of the Dallas Cowboys in a way that is so foreign to me. People talk about the New York media being one end of the spectrum. They're brutal. Those players, they have a couple of bad games. Their careers are shot. They are psychologically broken. It's just the opposite. It's just the opposite here. You can have a mediocre player, and the Dallas media, if they have one game, will elevate them to And for some reason, the rest of the league follows. So you remember Miles Austin? Remember the wide receiver Miles Austin, who had like 3 good games and then got a huge free agency payday because he had 3 good games for the Cowboys, and then we never heard from him again because he sucked, because he was just elevated hype-wise by this ass-kiss media in this town.
All right, so once you drive 50 miles in any direction, that's a non-factor. So for Cowboys Nation out here in Bug Tussle, no, that's not it at all.
And as you listen to games on the Cowboy Radio Network, you have sports sites. No, it's all over the state. It is the mesh in the narrative dictated by the Jones family through their control of the media entities that promote their team. That's something that doesn't really happen elsewhere that I'm aware of.
That I don't want to say Dallas media is non-existent, but it's a minimal factor out here in Bug Tussle. The hype that we get, the
Cowboys media, maybe not Dallas media, but Cowboys media. That's a whole thing.
Dallas,
and they have a guy, Ed Werderer or whatever. ESPN has a guy who lives here for a team who hasn't won in 27 years. Why? Because of the brand. Brand is all hype.
But remember, the people that live around here on Tuesdays, their kid goes to practice. On Thursday, the 8th grade JV and freshmen play. On Friday, the varsity plays. On Saturday, your college team plays. On Sunday, the pros play. Like, your whole life is wrapped up into football. Like 5 days a week, you are doing football in the fall. And so we deserve to have football glory more so than the people of the great state of Vermont. Not any slide on them, but I doubt they spend as much time focused and societal attention on football as we do down here in Texas.
Dallas is one of the top 5, certainly top 3, maybe even football markets in the country, without a doubt. The fan base is ridiculous.
Well, it's not just
asking why that is.
It's a way of life. When you go out into the small towns, that's our town meeting. That's the biggest building in every small town is going to be the high school football stadium. It's the only time we really see each other. It's the only thing we all do together. Like, we even go to different churches, and so we focus on football more so than basketball and baseball and soccer and pickleball or whatever.
Yeah,
it's part of our cultural fabric, and so that's where the sense of entitlement comes from. Of course, we deserve more Super Bowls than the people in Seattle. I mean, Jesus Christ, y'all can't even keep your downtown from being autonomized or whatever. With the
that's where you go. We're having a nice football conversation, and you want to? Okay, we're kidding.
Well, no, I'm just displaying the other side of the cultural spectrum. Those guys, they're not at football practice.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it this way. Let's look at the 5 major markets, because honestly, the small towns that have football teams, I'm sorry, but there is nothing like it. There's nothing like, you think Dallas is big on football. There is nothing like a Sunday game at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The entire state turns out. Same for Buffalo in the Bills Mafia. That's all they got. So it's like complete. So let's not talk about them. Let's talk about the major markets. Let's talk about the top 5. New York Jets and New York Giants, they split that market. That is not a crazy football town. People are either fans of the Jets or the Giants, and for whatever reason, there's too many other things going on in New York City for it to be completely insane.
I several times I've been in Manhattan during football season for purposes of work, and when you're walking down the street, the Giants aren't the biggest thing being plastered around. It's at sports bars and stuff. Hey, come see the Giants game.
Yeah. But you're just as likely to sit next to a Jets fan. It's like the way baseball is in Chicago, where neither the Cubs, baseball isn't the biggest sport in Chicago, even though we have 2 teams, because the fan base is split. And also it's New York. There are other things going on. You know what I mean? It's like there's just way too much. So then second, you have Los Angeles. They have 2 teams. They didn't have any teams for about 20 years, and nobody noticed. Like, nobody cares. I mean, nope. Los Angeles is not a football town. Chicago, very much a football town. That's the one unifying team. You got baseball. The fan bases are split. And then you have this weird divide between Bulls fans and Hawks fans, Blackhawks fans, even though they play 2 different sports, but they're real. You're either a Bulls fan or a Hawks fan. You either watch hockey in the winter or you watch. The Bears are the unifying factor, and there's great tradition there. So that's a big one for the major markets. San Francisco, for years they had to split that market with Oakland.
Market 4, yeah.
They had to split that market with Oakland. The 49ers have been one of the most impressive organizations in the NFL over the past 50 years. And they haven't really completely galvanized. And then Dallas, Fort Worth. Of those 5 major markets, I would say that, and I'm a Bears fan, and I love my Bears, but I would say that the Dallas Cowboy market is probably the biggest of the 5 major markets as far as just fandom and attention. And I want to know why that is. You've got an owner that is just a clown show. You've got a team that has done nothing but break your heart. I just don't understand it.
Well, it's also the math that every single NFL fan faces at the beginning of every year. Even if everything was even parity, even playing field, you have a 1 out of 32 chance of winning the Super Bowl. And so you have a 31 out of 32 chance of having a disappointing end to your season. The only thing that's the only way your season doesn't end in either a loss or even worse, you not even making the playoffs, is winning the Super Bowl. So there's going to be a bad note at the end of the song for 31 of 32 teams every season. So we have unreal expectations if we're only happy when your team wins the Super Bowl. And you have to learn to sort of be happy with, getting to the playoffs regularly, getting a playoff win, even if it's in the namby-pamby wild card round. And even though Jerry Jones does have a almost 3-decade record of failure,
futility, and embarrassment, and
he did have that success at the beginning. And of course, we're all going to give Jimmy Johnson the credit, but Jerry Jones was there. So we know it is possible if we could just get the next Jimmy Johnson. The worst thing is that we have seen the magic happen before. It's why we held on to Tom Landry so long, is because we had seen that magic before.
You have I recently watched Smokey and the Bandit.
No, you eat shit, Will. Sorry.
I recently watched. See, it's not that easy to contain yourself, huh? Sometimes you just get triggered by some smart ass in the chat room. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, yeah, I don't. I think.
Oh,
so.
Jerry Jones, right?
How old were you during the Aikman, the 90s Super Bowls? How old were you?
Oh man, I was like a freshman, sophomore, and senior in high school.
Okay. All right. Very good. So you and I have the same experience, because you don't remember the Staubach era, right? I mean, maybe you were 1 or 2 years old.
No, I don't remember it.
Right, you don't remember that. So, but you were old enough during the Aikman and Emmett years. You were old enough to appreciate that because you were a kid, right? And it meant a lot to you. You were
probably the pinnacle of my football fandom. Never did I watch more football than I did when I was in high school.
Same for me with the 85 Bears in the seasons that surrounded that. People forget 84, the Bears were freaking great too. 85, they were unbeatable. 86, they were freaking great. They just blew it in the championship game at the last minute against the Giants. So that era for me, I was same age as you. I was 15, 16, 17 years old during the last time that the Chicago Bears, my team, were dominant. And that was very exciting. But I wonder, James, and I have the same thing with my 13-year-old son now, and I've said this to him before. He's 13 years old. He's only been a fan now for 3 years. He's had his heart broken 3 years in a row now. I almost think it would have been better if, I'll put it to you this way, my Bulls, I was in my 20s. I was in bars. I was partying. I was hanging out with chicks. I was on the radio. I was producing the Bulls. I mean, I was a part of. So when they had their one, I had to wait. And I had been a Bulls fan through the Artis Gilmore, Reggie Theus years where they were terrible, where they were just the worst team in the league. I think it's almost better for someone like my 13-year-old son to have to wait a little bit longer, to have enough heartbreak, maybe 10 years in a row of heartbreak or whatever, because I think you can get spoiled. I feel like I got spoiled. I was 15, 16 years old, 85 Bears. I assumed that was going to happen all the time. And I've been heartbroken ever since, because I think maybe that came to me too soon. And when you have years and seasons in and seasons out of heartbreak and disappointment, doesn't that make the eventual championship so much better? And don't you appreciate it more? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but you don't want to be the Chicago Cubs who go without a championship since the Ottoman Empire existed until 2 years ago.
I'll tell you, I know a lot of Chicago Cub fans, obviously. A lot. I am not. I'm a White Sox fan, but I know a lot of Chicago Cub fans who waited a lifetime for that 2016 World Series. And it was more special than any of the Houston Astros World Series or any of the myriad of Yankee victories. It was more special because it was something that they understood how hard it is. Like if you're heartbroken because you really thought the Cowboys were going to go all the way, then you don't have a full respect for football because you don't understand how hard it really is. And what they did making it to the second round, the divisional round of the playoffs, you said it. That is something any number of people, fans of teams, would kill for. I mean, they would absolutely kill. They would be celebrating and so excited going into the next season. Not here. No. Here it's cause to fire everybody and crying and people kicking holes in the videos going around of people breaking their TVs. I mean, it's absurd.
Well, we deserve it because we're football people and we are of football stock, and that's where the sense of entitlement comes from. It's irrational. You're right to make fun of it and mock it and be bewildered by it, but that's the best explanation I got.
Frank's right. The White Sox didn't spoil Pugs. No, they didn't. No, I had to wait. I was 30-something years old when my White Sox finally got me a World Series. I will say this, and I love this. I think I'm very proud of this. I have lived so far in my life, I have lived in my life where I have seen every single one of my teams win their world title in their given sport. Every single one of them. It's done. It's clean slate. We're now going for 2, except in the case of the Bulls, we're going for 7. But that doesn't look like that's coming anytime soon. My Bears won in 85. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish won the national championship in 89. My White Sox won in 2005. My Bulls won every year in the 90s. My Blackhawks won 3 world championships just in the last 5 or 6 years. So, I mean, I've seen all of my teams win it all. I guess I can die not feeling like I rooted for losers, right? Because at least I got that one moment. There are Detroit Lion fans who have lived an entire life and died.
Cleveland Brown fans, yeah.
Being nothing but disappointed. So,
all right, can we put that to rest and
yeah.
do the next thing?
That was for you. I thought you might want to get something off your chest. What do you got on your mind, James?
With it. Hey, so tell me about Reiner. Reiner watches the show sometimes.
Yeah, we're a Mike Reiner alert in the chat room, seeing if he's going to pop in. He popped. I guess I still don't know if it was him, but a couple weeks ago, someone named Mike Reiner popped in the chat room, and then he sent me a nice little Twitter thing confirming that I guess it was him. He said, "Here, where is it? I don't know."
Yes, because some guy named Mike Reiner said, "Hey guys, love the show," and I was like, "Hey, look, that's Mike Reiner," and Pugs just easily brushes off. That's not him.
Well, I wouldn't. Why would he waste his time with this? You know, that doesn't seem to be.
Because we're Dallas radio people, and he's a Dallas radio person flipping through Facebook, and we have a lot of mutual friends. And at some point, maybe we'd come up on the radar, or at least you would.
January the 19th. So that was Thursday night. That was after our Thursday night show, the last show that we did. He hit me up on Twitter at 11:01 p.m. and he said, "I want to be on your podcast," in the most Reiner way possible. And hey, anytime, man, anytime. Reached out, haven't heard anything. He might have been drunk. You know, people say things when they're drunk. So
people say what they mean when they're drunk.
You know what? I'm not going to push back on that because you're not completely wrong. So we are on a Reiner watch in the chat room today. If you see the old gray wolf gracing our chat room, say hello. Don't be an asshole to him.
I think I can do both. I think I can do entertaining radio that he would appreciate and kind of be an a-hole at the same time.
Well, you definitely got the a-hole part down.
Thank you. So if you have, I've noticed, like, if you have someone that you've wanted to talk to or interview, or, have on your show for a long time, one of the worst things you can do is ask them the same questions they've been asked at every other interview. So, like, if you're having like a band come in, how'd you guys get together? What's the favorite song to play live? Or What's your favorite town to play? It's just the same old hacky questions like that. Or you have an actor in, hey, how'd you get started in movies? Or porn star comes in, did you start as like dancing and then work your way to movies? Don't ask the same damn questions over and over. So what I was thinking is we come up with a whole new segment and we could call it uncomfortable questions. And we'll just act like, listen, we were just going to do this segment anyway, but it's a chance to ask all three of us. We all have to answer this list of uncomfortable questions. And I think that would talk about an icebreaker.
Do you have a list of uncomfortable questions at the ready? I'd like to try and play this game.
I do, but I'm saving them for when Mike Reiner shows up, and I don't want to get him out there because then they won't be a surprise.
You can't do that. He's not. There's no guarantee that he's gonna show it. Just stop.
Maybe he'll show up tomorrow. I'll give you a couple samples. I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to give you the whole list, but I'll just give you a couple samples.
Okay.
What's the biggest girl you would sleep with? And I would also ask, have you slept with?
6'3".
I'm looking in poundage, son.
Oh, well, a 6'3" girl. Okay, so let's go the biggest girl. I'm going, but you can't just go poundage. The question should be, what's the fattest girl you would sleep with? You said biggest, so I'd go 6'3".
Okay, fine.
6'3".
The heaviest girl you would sleep with. There's got to be a weight cutoff.
I could not answer that because honestly, it would depend on how do you answer that? Look, I'm a pretty face guy. I don't have a problem with. Actually, you know what? I think probably it would. I'm trying to think. I don't think I could put up. Look, I weigh 235 pounds. I don't know where do I get off laying down some arbitrary number of a woman? I'd be lucky.
An arbitrary number. It could just be a concept. Like, what's the heaviest woman you'd sleep with? Okay, my cutoff is any woman who weighs more than me. That's my cutoff. That's and I think that's a good rule of thumb. It does. Okay. You don't have to know what the exact number is, but just
and you're like 6'8".
For it.
Yeah, so you've got what do you weigh? 220, 215?
Yeah. 220, 225, sometimes 215. But here's the deal. That I can throw that out as a rule of thumb, and then the scientific method would dictate if you can give me a counter example, then I would necessarily have to push that number up. So what I would say.
Let me ask you this:
no girl that weighs more than me, 220, and I find out Christina Hendricks weighs 225. Well, I guess my number just went up.
Yeah. She doesn't, but yeah, I see. Yeah, no, I don't know. All right, so let me ask you, what's the tallest girl? Do you have a height cutoff? Could you date a girl that's taller than you?
Well, I would, but that's hard to find. I'm 6'3", and I have met a few girls that are taller than me, and yes, I would. Man, and I feel like that when I was young, like if you got me around another woman that was like 6 foot, 6'3", like about my height, I was like, we need to breed. We need to make super children. Oh, and then we need to go storm the walls of Paris and just, go pillaging.
Pugs, I would like you to meet my new girlfriend. Yes, James. Nice to meet you. Her name is Brittany Griner.
Maybe Shield Maiden Lagatha.
We are here for the Griner Parker wedding.
You got any dates? Yeah.
I had a serious crush on a stripper in this town who was like 6'3". She was. I was
so great. Aren't those tall strippers amazing?
And she'd wear heels, and so she was like 6'6". It's just big. She probably weighed like 200. She's big. I mean, she was. Yeah.
See, now we're getting at the limit. See what I'm saying?
My friend Aaron used to call me a tree climber. He's like, what are you going to climb that tree? I go, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, right.
If she'll let me.
Yeah. Bring a rope ladder if you have to.
We went out on a couple of dates, and it didn't. I mean, it wasn't my thing. She's too big.
It wasn't your thing.
She was volatile, as strippers are wont to be. She was.
So she wasn't good enough for you. I would figure if I went out with the 6'3" stripper, I wouldn't live up to her standards.
No, it was a me thing. I ghosted her before ghosting was even a name. It was just, she was a bit much.
Does that speak ill of you as a person if strippers are ghosting you? If you were the one being ghosted by the stripper?
Well, I was ghosting her, but I have been ghosted.
But I mean, if just hypothetically speaking, if I had been ghosted by a stripper before, that's not a good sign.
I've been ghosted by strippers, and I've ghosted a stripper. Look, she was. Some girls are fun between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. You don't really want to be around them at 1 p.m.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I
I
mean?
hear you. I hear you. I hear you. So look, isn't that a great sample though of the new segment, the sweeping the nation called Uncomfortable Questions?
Yeah, I want another one. I want you to give me another one. I want to keep going. You say you got a list. You're saving it till Reiner. We could all be dead tomorrow. I don't know if you've seen the news lately, but people are dropping dead all the time. So let's give me some. Don't waste these. What you lack creativity to the point where you can't come up with more inappropriate questions. What is this?
I have a ton.
Google search.
Me. I am Niagara Falls of inappropriate questions, but I want to save some of these good ones I wrote with Reiner in mind because all the people that I have heard interview Reiner, it's like, how'd you get started in radio? You told me about when the ticket first started, and it was just like two guys in a tin can. Like, did you even know it would work? Talk about being retired, come out, talk about what's Corby think? Screw all that. I'm asking real quick. All right, fine. Would you sleep with the chick if you found out she was a Nazi?
No.
And so what I'm really asking is, who's the hottest chick in the world? Who's the chick that you would most like to sleep with? And then you're making out and like, you're back in her hotel room and it's about to happen. Christina Hendricks or Scarlett Johansson or whatever. And like, she goes, oh, like right before the intercourse is about to happen. She goes, oh, by the way, I'm a Nazi.
Yeah, I'd walk out. Doesn't matter.
No matter who it is.
No matter who it is. Yeah, I'm not James. I'm not a sex perv like you. I can control myself.
I'm doing missionary vanilla sex just with the
100% swearing on the soul of my child. James, I don't know if you know this, but I've had sex before, and it doesn't really. And I've had sex with girls far too beautiful for me to ever be in their orbit. Yet somehow I've been able to make that happen. Radio helps, but you know what I'm saying? So it's not that big of a deal. If I was with Scarlett Johansson and all that, first of all, it'd be shocking because she's Jewish. But if I was with Scarlett Johansson and she revealed herself to be a Nazi, okay, time out. I'm thinking this through. If it was Scarlett Johansson, I might go through with it. But if it was just a girl who looked like Scarlett Johansson, then no. But for Scarlett Johansson, because I'd have that story. I died out on that story for years. Yeah, had sex with Scarlett Johansson. Did you know she's a Nazi? Like, I could go through with that, I guess.
Dude, Scarlett Johansson being a Nazi for my story would be like paragraph 8.
I would not even make an attempt to pleasure her, though. Not even. I would just finish myself and I'd be on my way.
Oh, not me. Oh, she'd be a happy little Nazi.
Oh, really? You'd give a Nazi an orgasm. Isn't that an interesting thing? You would be comfortable giving a Nazi momentary joy.
I would make them rethink their entire world view. It would be so good.
Not me. Not me.
All
right, give me another one.
Come on, man. Why are you going to take all my good questions?
Because we're playing this game now. This is what we're doing.
This is a good segment, though, isn't it?
It is. Inappropriate. Right. I wish I had some for you. I don't.
What was your most public vomit?
A cool river publicly during a very early Pugs and Kelly. It's also.
Is that the one where you puked in the beer bottle?
That's my most legendary public vomit. I still, I'm not going to say recently, but a few years back, years after this event took place, I would have people come up to me and go, dude, when I saw you puke into that long neck beer bottle and not spill anywhere, I knew you were a pro. That's right.
Boy, 2002 was different, wasn't it?
It was. That was my most public vomit. I don't vomit much.
All right, my most public vomit was in LaGuardia. I was dry heaving in a urinal. I didn't even make it to a stall. I was dry heaving in a urinal. Luckily, I was empty by the time we got there because I'd made the driver pull over on Madison Avenues. So I'm just a little country bumpkin. I'm from a hay pasture in a single wide trailer out in the middle of nowhere. Never been nowhere a big city like this before. And I was so hungover on the Uber ride back to the airport, I made the guy pull over and I barfed on Madison Avenue. I was like,
what were you doing? Were you drunk or sick?
Isn't this the block from Mad Men? Blah! And
Were you
like
drunk or sick? What was the?
it was the hangover. There
It was
was.
the
I
hangover,
wasn't sick. I'm a degenerate. Jesus Christ, what do you think it was?
because
And so
I puked in a 3rd grade classroom, but that was stomach flu, and they had to pull out
when
the
you were in
orange.
3rd grade,
And they had to pull out the orange dust, and
yeah.
that's always humiliating. I also pooped in a swimming pool once
Oh, whoa, dang, that's nasty.
when I
I
was
didn't ask
little.
for your most public Duke.
It's very little, very little. I was like 5, pooped right there in the swimming pool. They cleared the pool. I was crying. It was awful. Trauma. I'm a victim. I'm still dealing with that trauma from the time that I pooped in the pool as a child.
Yeah, but I don't think the Madison Avenue puke was as public as the LaGuardia puke, because I think more people saw me in LaGuardia puking versus just being on the street in Madison Avenue.
What is up with those people? I always get very angry when I walk into a public restroom and I see somebody who has puked, and they've puked in either a urinal or, worse yet, the sink. Those people, have you seen that? Where you walk in and somebody just punched right in the sink? Like, there's like 5 stalls right there. You can flush it. It's easy cleanup.
I can't judge. I'm the guy leaving the puke. That's me. I can't. I see something different when I see that. I'm like, oh, that poor bastard. Been there. That's what I think.
Well, and I get onset societal rage when I see it. We have rules. You don't puke in a sink in a steakhouse.
I'm sorry you have rules. My esophagus is not aware of your rules, LaGuardia.
I understand. You got another one? Give me another one. Come on. I want more of these awkward questions. You said you got a bunch of them. Prove it.
Why hasn't anyone done this before? I literally just made this up today.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now this one is not as hypothetical. I'm really asking on behalf of a friend.
Okay.
Would you sleep with the paraplegic girl? And I say that because a guy that, I can't say his name because I broadcast with him in New Orleans every Saturday. He met a girl on Tinder, and her selfies were beautiful, and she's cool. She's a doctor, and not like a, just a pediatrician or anything. She's like a surgeon. She's a heart surgeon, and she has big fake boobs, and that kind of made us suspicious because she's really skinny but with big boobs. But she would always take pictures of her like on the lounge chair by the pool and in a bikini or whatever. But she looked gorgeous, and she's the same age as him. And so when he goes to meet her, she's a paraplegic. She's in a wheelchair, and he didn't know about that. That you just sprung that on him. He didn't know that's what he was meeting at the bar. So he still goes home with her, and he hooks up. He's like, you know what? I talked a lot of smack on text message, meeting on Tinder. Yeah, I'd like to do something with you. Yeah, well, I'd like to do something with you. Yeah, well, if I had the chance, here's what I'd do. Oh, really? I don't think you will, big boy. And so he felt like he was just living up to his machismo bragging beforehand, and he kind of had to follow through with the deal, just, cash the checks that his mouth wrote. And he said it was weird. And he doesn't want to do it again. And I thought, man, I can't even begin to judge that as right or wrong. Like, that just blows my mind. Like, I don't even know how to process that. My undeveloped human emotions, they just don't reach that far. So I thought that's a hell of a question to ask normal people. Would you have sex with a paraplegic?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. I have a very weird thing.
Is that fair to them?
It doesn't matter. Maybe it's not fair to me. Maybe I might enjoy a nice sexual relationship with a paraplegic, but I can't do it. I can't mentally do it. I'm sorry. That would, first of all, here would be the problem. People who are paraplegic, James, depending on for how long they've been paraplegic, no matter what they look like from the waist up, from the waist down, there is atrophy. The legs don't look, you know what I mean? They get very small, and that looks odd. And I would have power failure. I would not be able to uphold my end of the agreement. I wouldn't be able to. I would feel too bad for them. I would start having like bad thoughts, and then I'd think about how it happened, and that would just no. It was my mental the way my mind would begin to go, I would never be able to consummate that. And God love them. Oh, hey, bad news. Not only will you never walk again, but Pugs will never have sex with you. Right? Those are like, which is worse? So I don't mean to be so rough on that, but I can't. That's just the thing. That's just, James, I was with a girl once, very pretty girl. And we got home and we started to, I don't know how far it was going to go. It didn't go all the way, but maybe it would have, but maybe it just ended for whatever reason. When she took her jacket off, she was wearing a jacket and she had one of these like turtleneck kind of things. You ever seen these things, these turtlenecks that girls wear where they're almost like wife beaters, like their arms are free, but it goes all the way up to here. And she was very fashionable and it looked really good. And we started kissing and I pulled that back. And James, she had burns over the back of her neck all the way down her back. And she was beautiful. And I would be lucky to have someone like that. And I just got so mentally thrown by that I could no longer see this as a sexual kind of thing. I started to think of how much that hurt. I started to think about how awful it is for her to have to, be wearing. Now I knew why she was wearing the you know what I mean? It's like, and then I thought, oh my God, this poor girl, how awkward is this? Because she must know that at this moment I am discovering this and I can go either way. And if I go the wrong way, am I going to hurt her feelings? It ruined everything. It just took the mood. So I'm terrible like that. I can't, if there's anything wrong with you, I can't. So and there's a lot wrong with me.
Right. So I like to generally think that I'm an open-minded guy with a big heart and true love struck, that I could fall in love with anybody, whether they were paraplegic, quadriplegic, white, black, brown, Muslim, atheist, whatever, a mermaid, who knows. But realistic James realizes that that's very unlikely. That if I had met my wife, because my wife and we have a great relationship, healthy marriage, unbelievably happy together. But if she had been in a wheelchair, when I met her, would we still have gotten married?
No.
Man, I don't know if I can say yes to that. Right. I would like to think, yes, I'm a saint and I would be able to see through, and the real person.
It would have changed everything. The way you fell in love with her, the things, the dynamics that were in play.
Would she have wanted to marry me if she was in a wheelchair? Right? Because I'm a guy that always wanted to have a family and a big family. I want to have a lot of kids. But if she's knows that if she likes me and she's not able to provide that for me, no, you're not marrying me. You're gonna go, find someone who can. I don't think she would marry me in that situation. However, I can't say no to the scenario on would you have sex with the paraplegic, and I can even go ahead and throw in quadriplegic here, because now I'm in a scenario where I am with my wife. I have already been with her for like 16, 17 years. I'm almost to my home free date, by the way. Remember that discussion, the home free date?
No, what's that? Well,
18 years since I had sex with someone else.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So now I'm in this position where we have already made vows that we're going to be together till one of us dies. There is no divorce in this situation. It's not in the contract anywhere. And so if something happens to her, if she becomes a paraplegic or she gets in a car wreck and she becomes a quadriplegic, and she was okay with it, I was okay with it, yeah, I'd hit that. I still would. So I've had to amend my answer to that question now that I have already fallen in love with her and established her as my soulmate and the mother of my 4 children, and we're going to be together forever. Now I can say yes to that.
I think the one exception to this would be a deaf girl. I think I could be with in a relationship with a deaf girl, but I don't think I could blind. I think that would be a little bit too much work, and I'm very lazy. But a deaf girl, I don't know. I wonder. Because for some reason, thinking about also, I always thought Marlee Matlin was very attractive. Like back in the 90s, I always had a kind of a crush.
Marlee Matlin. She was.
So I think that's okay. I think, and even, when she was on West Wing and stuff, she was like a regular on West Wing. She played the Kellyanne Conway, the pollster, who was in charge of all that. she, you know, when deaf people speak because they can't hear themselves, they have a very interesting and unique and sometimes jarring way of speaking. That didn't even throw me. Like when she would talk in the West Wing, you know, the deaf people because they can't hear, so they
Yeah,
can't.
it's
I was
it's
fine
weird.
with that.
It's weird for about 5 minutes, and then
Yeah.
even within the same episode, it's like, oh yeah, that deaf girl. Yeah, that's just how she talks. Whatever.
And I also think it would be a really nice way for me to learn sign language. I've always wanted to learn sign language. I've always thought that would be good, and I would be good at that. And
And
we
if you
could
were
have fun with
forced into it, you're right.
that. Yeah.
No, but Jeff asked a good question. He says, "No divorce. Y'all have a murder-suicide pact." No, we just not a murder-suicide pact. We just have a murder pact. Like there's no way out of this. And so we already have marching orders. If I get into a situation where I'm on life support and I'm on some machine, go kick the plug out from the wall. Like, kill me the first chance you get. If there's some sort of advantageous thing like in Ozark where Darlene had to kill her husband, you know, to keep it going. Look, if that's what's best for the kids, you have to murder me. I wouldn't mind if I die by her hand. And other than that, I'm probably going to be the one who kills me.
I always find that funny. I always find that phrase murder-suicide pact funny because really it only takes one person to be committed to that. You know, it's
not a pact, really, is it?
Not really a pact. Like, what if at the last minute somebody goes, wait, hold on, I'm rethinking this.
Yeah, a suicide is a pact.
Yeah, yes, yeah, a mutual suicide, but a murder-suicide, I have a hard time believing that.
But no, look, the deal is we said till death do us part. So there is no divorce. If she leaves, one of us has to die. Either I'm killing her, or she's killing me, or I'm killing myself, or one of us. There's no divorce. That's not one of the options.
Well, you can't say you didn't warn us.
Right. Well, hey, go back to this episode. This will be hilarious, you know, when it shows up on Nancy Grace or whatever. Y'all can all
James, watching videotape of you from a Home Depot buying like 80-pound plastic vats to store bodies in and duct tapes and all that
stuff from Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at what he did. Look at James. There he is right there. He murdered his wife. Why else would he need an 80-gallon plastic drum?
Yeah. They're like, yeah.
It's always
talk about a uncomfortable question. Yeah.
All right, what else you got? You got another one? I'm running out of time here. This is good. Look at the show. The show flew by today. What else
did you answer the quadriplegic girl?
Yeah, I said no. I told you, I not only answered that, I said I don't think I could do anybody that had a problem because I get too sad.
You could do a girl with a peg leg.
No, I couldn't.
No, not even in a wheelchair, just a prosthetic leg from like the knee down.
No, I couldn't because then it would come off and I'd see that and that would make me mental. Dude, I am very fragile mentally. Okay. I'm very fragile and I'm not really into sex to begin with. So it would be very.
What if she just had a wooden foot?
No, I don't think I could.
What if she was just missing a toe?
No.
She was missing her
okay.
toe.
All right. Missing a toe. Okay. I could probably handle that. I could probably handle a toe. If a toe was missing, she would keep her socks on, but I could probably handle a toe.
But half a foot getting cut off, like in Roots or the kicker from the Saints?
Yeah, Dempsey, no way. When I was a little kid looking at that picture of Dempsey kicking with his little half a club foot, his foot looked like a croquet mallet. I was like, nope, couldn't have sex with him or anybody for that matter. Dude, it looks like a croquet mallet.
Could you have sex with a bald chick?
Yes. Yeah. Well,
while she's not without a wig on.
Is she in chemo? Like, is she going through something really rough that is again going to get inside my head and make me feel really bad, like I need to take care of her and not have sex with her?
No, she's Sinead O'Connor. She feels real strongly about a genetically modified bell pepper or whatever.
Okay, well, shaved? Okay, so shaved head the way I do, like no hair at all?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that would be a little too weird.
Isn't that a weird one?
That's a weird one. Short hair, really short hair, I could though. But I don't prefer it, but I could.
Yeah, that's not usually my jam, but I've dated a couple girls with really short hair and it was cute.
Well, I mean, I love girls with really short hair as long as they have a nice angular face. Girls with like rounded faces can't have short hair because they just look silly. They need something different. But like
catch dolls.
Do you remember when? You remember in the '90s when Demi Moore just all of a sudden cut her hair and it was like really short?
for G.I. Jane?
Ghost. No, it was Ghost.
Was
She
it
cut her
Ghost?
hair for
Okay.
Ghost. So hot. I was like, man, that is so hot. That is really a good look. And then who else? Who else had the short hair that I really liked? Remember Wilson Phillips, China Phillips,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
her
that
little
was
short
cool.
blonde, hot. Yeah,
How
but
cool.
that's hair. That's not shaved. That's just short hair.
There's a lot of those, like the hot chick from Happy Gilmore that had the short hair. Remember the love interest from Happy Gilmore?
No, I don't remember much about that movie, but I'll take your word for it because it was a hairstyle in the '90s where the girls
Shame
had
on
that
you
like
for not
super short
remembering
hair.
every scene of Happy Gilmore. Could you get with a chick in an eye patch?
In an eye patch?
Yeah, she had an eye patch. She wore an eye patch.
Is she missing an eye in there?
I don't know. Freaking
Okay, if you're saying a girl with a glass eye, because nobody wears eye patches anymore. What is she, a pirate? What am I back in the 1800s? It would be a glass eye.
Dan Crenshaw wears an eye patch and he's in Congress.
Oh, he's an affectation. He doesn't need to have that. He could be walking around. You know why he wears an eye patch? Because it makes him look more swashbuckly. Because it makes him look more masculine. If he had the eye, if you take that away, he's got a fake eye. Here's the problem: he doesn't want to be that guy that is talking to the guy over here but looking over here, and that's what happens when you have a glass eye. So he just puts the eye patch on, and he looks kind of.
All right, I think you
Period.
stumbled onto something here that I find really interesting, and because through the Parker memory banks, I cannot think of any time I've ever seen a chick in an eye patch in real life.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know. Real life, I don't know. Yes. Yeah. Well, it wasn't an eye patch. It was like she had just within the last 48 hours. Man, I was at a Cheap Trick show at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, and I saw this woman, and I talked about her on the air. She was the most train wreck of a woman that I ever saw in my life. And she was walking around, and she didn't have an eye patch, James. She had that thing where like 24 hours earlier, she got stabbed in the face and now she's here at Cheap Trick.
She just
So
had the gauze that was taped over her eye in the
yes,
square or in the
right.
rectangle. Yeah,
And there's like a piece of plastic under there, and then it's like white tape. So it wasn't full metal eye patch, but no, that was disturbing. The girl who looked like she just got stabbed in the face and then is in the mosh pit singing Surrender. That was disturbing. That woman was
right. Your mom is all right. Daddy, I don't think mom's all right.
no.
Mom is not okay.
I think mom fell on a pencil or something. Something bad happened. Mom was running with scissors.
All right, what about arms? Could you get with a chick with one arm?
No,
Well,
none of
what if
these
she was?
meanings or anything.
What if she was just missing a pinky finger?
Yes, probably just a pinky
I
finger.
just like finding where these boundaries are because it's not a no. It's a where's the boundary. So
A pinky finger would be fine. And again, we're talking about the assumption, just to be clear for the chat room, all of these women that you are describing are otherwise 10s, right?
Yes.
Because that's the temptation that
Christina Hendricks or Kate Upton showed up and she only had, 3 fingers on one hand.
Will ask the question everybody wants to know.
Parker, if I haven't yet, it's unlikely that that's gonna happen in the future.
Parker, would you F Pugs?
No. We missed our prime effing years though, because like when we first met, I was in my 20s, you were in our 30s. If we were gonna do some gay stuff, that'd have been the time to do it.
That would have been it. And I had power over you then. So I could have I could have been the top.
And I'm all married now, and I was in much better shape back then.
Yeah. No. That's another thing. People are like, that's the question, that's the classic bar drinking question. How much to go down on a guy, right? How much money in a briefcase in front of you to go down on a guy? And depending on my point in life, that number has been as low as $5K. Just put $5K right here, and I get to walk out, and all I got to do is go in the back room and like let this guy finish. I mean, at some point, it's just an act, and I'm gonna take that $5K and I will pay. I mean, it hasn't been that way in a while. But yeah, people are always shocked at my number. You would go down on a guy for 50 grand? Damn right I would. And so would you. If there was the criteria is that nobody knows. Like it's just you and him that know, right? That's how you make it safer for people. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the whole town's going to be talking about how I went down on this guy in the parking lot of Twin Peaks, right? No. But if no one were to know and it was just cash out the door, I think y'all would be surprised at what my number is to do what I would consider just an act.
Bro, I got kids, bro. I don't care about all that.
So
Yeah.
do I. So do I. And you know what? There is a number for all of us. No matter, I don't care how many kids you got. You can put them all through college. There is a number for daddy to do that.
Right.
There's a number.
On that one.
I'm just telling you, my number is lower than I think people would suspect.
All right. Well, I am saving some of the rest of these questions, and I want you to talk to Reiner, get him on as a guest, and let's run him through the uncomfortable questions. Wouldn't this be great? We finally have some guy that we, know and respect. And
I want to do more. Hold on.
Are you doing your show?
Yeah, everybody say hello to Buffalo, James. Yeah, do you need this in private?
No. I just had a thought, but I forgot you were doing the show.
Yeah, we're just going late. What would be your this is going to be fun. Go ahead, James. Hit him with one of these. Emil, hold on. James has a question for you. We're playing awkward questions tonight.
Would you sleep with a paraplegic girl?
No.
Why not?
Well, because she's a paraplegic. She can't feel sex.
Well, okay. You and I agree.
And she wanted you to be happy, and she wanted to, be able to fulfill her man's desires. And she was otherwise beautiful. She's a perfect 10. It's like Kate Upton just got in a car wreck, and she's in a wheelchair, but now she's got to have some anal.
No.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't want to. See, and that's my exact same response. No, but mine was for different reasons. I would just emotionally, I wouldn't be able to handle that. I would. You got another one? Throw another one at E. Let's see what else he's got.
What's the heaviest girl you would ever sleep with? Give me the poundage.
Oh, wow.
Because mine isn't an exact number. Just to give you an example, my cutoff is any girl that weighs more than me is a no.
Oh, it would be way before that.
Yeah, now E. Now this is this. E likes very thin model-esque type girls. So I would be surprised if his number was north of 110. I think 110 is his cutoff.
It's obviously higher than 110. Yeah. I would say. I mean, just by past conquests, I would say nothing more. Well, there was one.
Tell us about that one. Hold on. Don't move away from that. Tell us about that one.
This is a story.
You're full of them.
So back in the day when I was on the other side of the tracks, this girl worked for Metro Media, which I don't know if you remember who they were, but they used to be the pager company.
Yeah.
And so somehow I found out that she was a manager of Metro Media, and she had essentially a position of, if the police were going to come and get a search warrant on your pager, or investigate into your pager, she would be the one who would know.
So this is from your criminal past. So
I said when I was on the other side of the track.
So you threw one into the fat Metro Media girl because you thought she could head off the police if they ever came looking for your info.
Well, I thought it would be great to have a good contact at Metro Media, because if the police were coming to get, figure out who is paging who, I would know that. But this is the part of the story that I was really disgusted with myself at this point. So it was over off of right over where Cabaret Royale was. There was a place over there called I think it was a Safari Bar, if I remember correctly. And so I met her over at the Safari Bar, and we were talking and chatting it up, whatever. And she said that she liked to go to strip clubs. And so at that point I was like, okay, fine. So we left the Safari Bar and we drove right over there to where Cabaret Royale was. And when she got up to get out of the car, she farted.
And if I have this right, she probably climbed out. She's a little heavy, so she probably climbed out of your 1992 Ferrari.
No, it wasn't a Ferrari. It was back then it was a Lotus.
Oh,
it was
Lotus.
like the pretty woman. It was the pretty woman Lotus looking Lotus.
All right,
It was
probably
later 80s, early 90s.
Would you have 10 keys in the trunk?
No.
What? He's just crawling around with his Metro girl.
No. So then we got really, really hammered and ended up back at her place. And it was just a sty. It was like a pigsty. And I woke up in the morning and the sheets were like half on the bed. And I looked over and I just like remembered what all had occurred. And I was like, oh, and I left.
There you go. And the police never came knocking though, did they? So on some level it worked out for you.
Well, look, part of me, I think my BS meter's going off because Lotuses come with a sensor in them equipped to eject fat chicks.
Is that a thing? That's a thing.
No. And the thing was, the safari bar to the Cabaret Royale was like literally like from our house to the tollway. Like that's about as far of a drive as it was.
Wow. So, I remember the Cabaret Royale. Was that place closed? That was one of the nicer ones.
No, I think it's still open.
Really?
It's still there.
Where's that at?
Is it like Stemmons and Walnut Hill?
Yeah, Stemmons and Walnut Hill area over there.
I only know where like the old Penthouse Hustler Club is because it was right off the expressway and you could see it if you drove down, the expressway. And I know where Baby Dolls is for the same reason. And I know where the Lodge is. But all of the other clubs in this town, the one I've been to many.
Cabaret was like essentially the first one of that style after $1 Million Saloon.
See, I don't know where that is. All of the other ones, like there's probably half a dozen clubs in this town that I've been to a dozen times. I could not tell you where they are because every time I've went there, I've been drunk, because that's when you would go to those things after you were at other places. And, I'm riding with somebody. I have no idea where Cabaret. Wait a second. What's the one over by Dave and Buster's?
That's where Cabaret Royale. I don't know if Dave and Buster's is still there, but yes, that's where it was.
Okay, so I do know that one. And then where's the men's club? Is the men's club on Northwest Highway?
It is. That came after Cabaret Royale.
I don't know. I could not get in a car and drive to any of those. But I could get in a car and I could drive to the Lodge. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I wouldn't know where the other ones were. I know I've been there. Still don't know where Jaguars is. I've been to Jaguars a couple of times.
Jaguars is like an after hours club. Like you can go there and drink till like 3, 4 in the morning, 5 something. Kind of like the Pantera strip club.
Clubhouse. Been there a million times. Exactly. No idea where that is. Isn't that like set back in an industrial park or something? I have no idea where that one is.
Yeah, it's on the west side of 35.
Let me ask you something. So here we are.
I can't believe I got dragged into this, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, maybe if you'd listen, you'd know that we were still streaming. Do you, being the age you are now and in the age that I am now, do you ever have the inkling to go back and live that life maybe for a night or two?
0.
Me too. Isn't that weird? I have no interest. None whatsoever. I don't want to go. I mean, I could go to the Lodge and have a nice dinner because they have wonderful food there and I like the people who operate it, right? I could do that. But the way that we used to run around in this town, I have no interest in that anymore. I don't think I would.
I literally don't know how it's happened, but like some switch just flipped off. And I guess maybe that happens when you get married. I don't know, but like there is, for as many times as I had been there and for as many times as I was a frequent flyer, I sometimes actually think to myself, like, what happened? Like how is it that is not part of your routine.
Well, first of all, you said that maybe it was because you got married. That can't possibly it, because those places exist because of married men. Married men go to those places. I think, here's what I think. I sometimes think about this too. I think it might have something to do with being a father to a boy. Sometimes I think that that's just not who I want to be for my 13-year-old son, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's not like he would know if you went, or it's not like my son would know if I went.
Well, not even know if we went, because I don't think that's off the table. I think that's perfectly acceptable. People come into town, you want to have a wild, but I'm talking about the way, there was a time in our lives when that was on the menu every night we went out. I mean, I couldn't imagine living that way anymore.
Well, you can't afford to live that way right now, but Emil doesn't have that issue. And I'm kind of in the purgatory between you two, to where I think, you know what, that really was fun when I did it. And I think that would be fun to do again if I was, financially able to do more than I've already done. And I'm not in that position. So if I'm just going to go do crap I've already done, then I'm okay, not doing it anymore. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't like to do it in the future. It still sounds fun as hell. It's just, financially not the smartest move for me right now.
I think the gap in age between how old I am now and the stripper age never changes. Like in
That's
other
true.
words, they're in their 20s or 30s, and they're still in their 20s or 30s, but I'm not close to that range anymore. So I think that may be what's taken me out of that zone. Like, I don't feel like I can go in there and relate to somebody in their 20s. I just don't think I can.
Oh, you know what? I get what you're saying, because when you go in there in your 20s and 30s, these girls are potential, not necessarily like girlfriends, but like if it's a hookup, it could be a legit hookup. But now if you have some 26-year-old girl that's trying to hook up with you, you're a creepy old guy and she's just doing it for the money, and that takes all the fun out of it whatsoever.
I push back on that. Creepy old guy. You telling me James, you're telling me that you would not, all of these hypotheticals that you threw out, I just assume that you're talking about girls in their mid 20s to late 20s. You're talking about smoking hot girls, right? So you would not have a problem with that. I mean, you're a happily married man, but if you were single, you're telling me at your age you would have a problem being with a 25-year-old. A 25-year-old is grown.
But
No,
it takes it takes the fun out of it, though.
I can relate to James in this. This like analogy kind of came into my head. Like when I would go hunting with my grandfather, there was a pheasant farm that we would go to that raised pheasants. And they would put these pheasants out in the field. And so we knew as we were hunting that there already were prey in that field, and we just had to flush them out, and then we would get an opportunity to shoot them. We weren't shooting them in the cage, but they were essentially just recently removed from the cage and put into a field. And when I then got older and I wasn't a teenager, that form of hunting didn't seem to me to be fun anymore. I wanted to go to a field where I didn't know if there were pheasants there, and I wanted to walk through and have a dog and go through the whole chase.
All right.
And I think the strip club feels like they're somewhat contained. They're going to talk to you because you have money. And so, yes, for what James said, it kind of feels like it's not a real hunting expedition. Whereas if you were out and you were at a Starbucks and the barista was 20 and she liked, the way you looked and ordered your coffee and she hit on you, that to me seems a hell of a lot more intriguing than me finding somebody that's 20 at the strip club.
That's exactly what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. Yeah.
There you go. Well said. All right. Thanks, Z.
All right.
There goes Z. There he goes. Master of the property. I just The fuck, James? What? I was just gonna. And James just did that thing where he just disappears. Okay, that's fine, James. I don't give a crap. You can whatever you want to do. Just go ahead. Man, let me tell you something. This is before my time down here, but there is a book in that guy. To have been that guy in this town in 1993, trucking around in his Lotus. He didn't have the Lamborghini yet. He just had the Lotus at this point. So that would be the Lotus, and then into the Lamborghini, and then the multiple Ferraris. He had two. He had two of the exact same Ferraris in two different colors. Apparently, a girl he dated once and brought back to his house called him an idiot when she walked through the garage. He said, "Why am I an idiot?" And she goes, "Well, I can understand having one Ferrari, but you've got two Ferraris, the exact same car, in two different colors. You're an idiot." And he was like, "I fell in love with that girl." Yeah, he's got a story. He's got a big story. He's a movie. There's a movie in that. We've talked about it. Maybe someday we'll put pen to paper and write the story. Anyway, so happy to have you all with me here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow at noon, high noon. Topics, current events, all that good stuff. Starts at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be your humble host, offering hot takes galore on all the issues of the day. And then we'll be back again. We'll be back again tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for more Pugs and Parker. Pugs and Parker, more conversational. High noon with Pugs. Just a crazy old fat man screaming into a camera alone in the middle of the day. That's what that one is. If that sounds like anything you'd be interested, well, I'll see you here. We had a whole bunch more that I wanted to do today. A whole bunch more. All right, so I guess he was calling for a reason, so I'm going to have to go next door and see what's going on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Tip the show. We're on tips again this month. I'm your bartender. I'm your barista. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. High noon. Thank you so much. Love you. Be good to one another. Bye-bye.